This be the verse. 13. There are 3 of us in my room. We're watching Tudors or some shit. It's cozy, but not so cozy as to feel close. Paul and Josh are on my bed, and I'm sat on the floor, closest to Josh. He keeps complaining about the show, but he keeps coming round to watch it. Pearl doesn't mind that I've invited him. She knows I like him. She teases me about it on the bus to school, blows kisses when he's outside the front gate, mocks me when he hugs me goodbye and walks to his school. She's not here in a chaperone capacity. She's here so it isn't so intense, so I can keep it under wraps that I like him. He has a girlfriend. He always has a girlfriend. I'm just the friend. I don't mind. When he complains to me. Tells me, see, you get it. Why can't she? Why can't she be me? I wonder, but not out loud. His parents have asked him the same thing. My parents say nothing on the subject. So we're sitting in my room. We've come straight from school. Still have our uniforms on. I've been the hostess with the mostess and made tea for everyone. Made sure we brought snacks on the way home because there's never anything in the cupboards. And Mum comes home early. She's usually late on Tuesdays. Long days running around Kent telling people how to do their jobs better, wearing her own clothes rather than the standard uniform, driving a company car, so that people knows that she knows what she's talking about, that she's been doing this longer than them, that she's the boss. She comes upstairs and says hello to Pearl and Josh, tells me I need to get ready for rugby. I'm not going tonight. It's only fitness training, I say, hoping she can read the subtext. There's a boy in my room, Mum. Go away. You really should go then if it's fitness training. I don't need to go to fitness training. It's fine. Hannah. No one in my room breathes. I know Pearl is looking at me. She knows what my mum's like. She knows how bad it hurts. I've turned up at her door in tears more than once. I've cried myself dry and then walked home. Her mum never lets me stay, doesn't think I'm a good influence. I'm 2 years younger than Pearl, but emotionally and mentally we're the same. She understands me, knows how to distract me from my sadness. She's my best friend. Josh is looking anywhere but me. He's never been so uncomfortable in his life because for the first time since he's met me, I'm speechless. My mum has never been anything but polite to him, nothing but shiny, but her face is hard and her eyes are cold. She feels nothing as she says what she says because she has no idea the gravity of it. My room is suddenly too hot. It smells of sweat, aerosol deodorant and sugar. It's a mess. My clothes, clean, are everywhere. My bed is unmade and I'm suddenly very conscious of my position on the floor. I want to make myself smaller, to hide. There isn't anywhere. I run to the bathroom. It's the only room in the house which has a lock. Mum says something about being dramatic, something throwaway, meant to fix it, but I break into little pieces behind the door. Fall apart at her insistence that this is something we'll laugh about. We'll forget in the years to come, she hopes. Josh waits for her to leave, talks to me through the door. I don't want him to see me cry, but he can hear it anyway. He knows it all now. How could he like someone who can't even get their own mother to love them? Pearl and Josh leave pretty soon after that. Mum doesn't make me go to rugby, but she doesn't apologise either. She never apologises. She says things like, I'm sorry you're upset, like she's a robot who can't understand, refuses to. She cries just as much as I do. 15. The carpet was worn and coarse under my legs, scratching through my pyjama bottoms. I twisted it, what little of it I could get hold of, through my fingers as I listened to my mum screaming from the kitchen. I just wanted a cup of tea. I'd rested my head against the banister to listen in on high-pitched squawking. It wasn't me she was angry at, but it had to be a family member. She only lost her shit like this with family. Dad was in the office. The door was open, and I could see he was leaning back in his chair listening to Mum also. I crept downstairs and stood in the doorway of the office, his brows knitting together. The longer Mum screamed, the more irritated he was becoming. You can't punish the boys because of something. That's just spiteful. We don't want your fucking money. That's not what this is about. Dad perked up, called out, Yes, we do. I smiled. At some point, Mum hung up the phone. I moved towards the new sound of clattering pans, careful not to get in Mum's way. She was nowhere near the kettle, which was the other side of the kitchen to the cooker. So I filled it, turned it on, and climbed up onto the counter, watching her. She didn't look her usual breed of angry, indignation mixed with a little, why does no one respect me? She looked tired, her eyes red and puffy where she'd been crying. Her hands were shaking as she turned the gas hob on, put too much oil in the pan, then poured some oil into a bowl and tried again. Who was that? I asked, pouring the boiled water into the teapot. 2 bags, 15 minutes. The kitchen was filling with noise again and the smell of frying mince. Who do you think? My bloody mother, she spat. Nanny Sue? Really? She never calls. Not us anyway. Auntie Tanya, sure. She has to call Auntie Tanya to book all their holidays together. We get postcards, birthday cards, £10 cash. What did she want? I called her. She's really pissed off with you. I frown. What did I do? She says you didn't call her to thank her for your birthday money. Yes, I did. She says you didn't. Well, it went straight to voicemail. I told her to call me back. She doesn't listen to her voicemail, and that's my fault? I can hear my voice rising, anger making my chest feel tight. That's what I said. I did try to call back, I tried to justify, but she never answered the phone. Oh, don't I know? Mum slams the pan back on the cooker, gets out an onion and a large knife. Dad comes into the kitchen, stands in the doorway with his arms folded, his eyes on Mum, who looks like she's going to cry again. All sorted? Dad asks. No, she's decided I've got horrible, ungrateful children because Hannah didn't call to thank her. Which I did, which she did, Mum corrects. Her hand stops mid-onion. Did I tell you when I was pregnant with Kieran? Her voice breaks. Tears are coming now. She told me. Why are you bothering? You've already got one of each. Like I was wasting my time. That my son was a waste of time. Fuck her. I don't mean to say it out loud, but it explodes from me and I'm off the table moving towards my mum. Fuck her and her stupid French face. She's a nasty piece of work and you don't need her. My arms are around my mum's waist and she turns, knife no longer in hand, and starts to cry in my neck. It's a childlike sobbing, and I hold her whilst she shakes and breathes hot, angry air into my neck. Dad moves towards the teapot, checks the tea. He'd have made it if I hadn't, but now he's got no distraction from the crying. I love them so much in this moment. I'd burn down the whole fucking world if I had to, if they asked me to. Mum pulls back from my damp shoulder to check on the cooking, and I move to the counter to get out of her way. She keeps letting you kids down. It's not fair on you. I don't want you to think we're heartless, Mum. But in all honesty, me and the boys don't care. We've seen her, once? Twice in 10 years? She's not my nan. She doesn't get excited about me passing exams, or watch my rugby games, or anything. She makes you feel miserable, and then she bails. What kind of mother does that? Mum smiles, but doesn't answer. I don't know if she's thought about it before. Not consciously, not out loud, but I don't press. She goes back to cooking, and Dad starts to pour the tea. You're a much better mum than she is anyway, I continue. Mum grins. Me and the boys are a lot less fucked up than you are. Mum swipes her tea towel and flicks it at me in retaliation, but she's still grinning. Thank you, is all she says, before Dad hands her a cup of tea and we change the subject to someone we care about. 19. It's dark, but I can tell Mum is angry. Her lips are pursed. She has this look in her eye like she's trying to kill the car in front just by staring at it. She's driving above the speed limit, but I know better than to call her out on it when she's in a mood. Did you see my blog today? I ask. It's doing really well. Yes. It's about her, the blog, about the time she told me. I've brought it up in arguments before, but now I'm airing dirty laundry for public consumption. People have commented saying it's really funny, relatable. She doesn't respond at first, but Mum doesn't stay silent on any subject for long. I think it's spiteful. I'm surprised. When I wrote about a friend and he got upset, she thought it was funny. When I write about the stupid things boys say to me, when they cry or when they shout, she shares it with her friends. Why? I know the answer as soon as I say it. Because this one is about her, obviously. This one makes her look bad. But I don't think it does. I think it makes her look powerful. She has control over me with what she says, her opinions. No matter how much Dad tells us, the only person who controls how you react, how you feel, is you. I think it makes her normal. Human. I have to think that because I'm becoming that way. I know that if I have a daughter, what I say to her will matter. It'll have power. I'll fuck up just the same. People I know will see it. My clients will think I'm a bitch. You are, I say, and though I'm grinning, she doesn't take the joke. She starts screaming how nasty and spiteful I am, and I remind her over and over that she said it. I didn't mean it like that. You shouldn't be so sensitive. I want to laugh. I want to cough up bile, thick and green and slimy, so she knows how stupid she sounds. I want her to look me in the fucking eye and tell me not to be so sensitive without missing a beat and realise what a hypocrite she is. I want to play on a cinema-sized screen all the times she's throwing a hissy fit over nothing. Over me going out with my friends, me staying in with my friends, me not tidying up, me tidying up and moving her stuff. Over her job, over my brothers, over Dad, especially over Dad. I want to make her watch this scene back over so she can understand. I just want her to understand. But I am spiteful, and I give her the venom I've mustered whilst I listen to her scream. If I'm a nasty, spiteful bitch, I say with a slow deliberacy. It's because that's what you made me. She kicks off again, but we're pulling up outside the house now. I can get out of the car whilst it's still moving. I can get to the front door before she sees me cry. I can get away. Pearl doesn't live down the road anymore. I can't escape there, and upstairs isn't far enough. I should be at university by now. I should be out, and I'm not. She'll use that next. Tell me I'm stupid to make me feel this big. It's what she's good at. I don't come down again until morning. She stands by the back door in her dressing gown, lips still pursed and a cup of tea in her hands. I've poured tea, she states, not looking at me. Thank you, I say. I think about promising not to share a post about her again. I think about apologising. I think about washing away my venom with a day, a week, a month of good deeds. It'll come back up again. I don't have it in me to hide for very long. 21. I was curled up on the bathroom floor when my mum found me. I'd never experienced agony like it. My gut was twisting and screaming. Or maybe I was screaming. Maybe I wasn't making any noise at all. I don't remember. I was in a ball around my gut trying to smother it. Smother the pain and make it stop. It wouldn't. It refused. My mum had come to find out why I was still upstairs. I'd been gone ages. She found me crying, lying in a ball, and reached out for me. Tried to turn me over. It didn't hurt to move anymore, so I did. I let her help me. I think I begged her to help me. She helped me downstairs and put me in an armchair. Dad eyed me with sleepy curiosity. Why was I crying now? What had I done? We were in the middle of nowhere, in a cottage 10 miles from town. It was dark outside, the countryside kind of dark, where there's no light pollution and the world looked black. We were on holiday. Dad and I had arrived first, driven up after work. It had taken us 4 hours. Mum came up the second day after a wedding, and she'd been so sick on the train, made sicky noises the whole way from the station to the house. Dad had not been sympathetic. She did this sometimes. She cried and made sicky noises because she hates to travel on her own, gets anxiety but refuses to call it that. I could sympathise, but I didn't want to. And now that she was helping me get comfortable, helping me with the pain, finding the painkillers from her bag, and demanding Dad take me to the hospital, I felt a wash of guilt which smothered the pain, made it look insignificant. I'll be okay, I lied. I probably just ate something funny. We'd eaten the same thing, and Mum wasn't convinced by my lie. But Dad wasn't going to budge. He was too tired, and an ambulance would take too long. I'd sleep it off and see how I felt in the morning. My dad and his non-existent medical degree. The pain was intermittent. It lasted an hour or so, and came whenever it felt like it. I went to the GP, who made me take a pregnancy test. Even after I told her I'd not had sex in a year, it came back negative, so we did an ultrasound. I guess she still didn't believe me. The ultrasound was inconclusive. Time for something more invasive. Mum came with me to my hospital appointments, held my hand, talked to the doctors and nurses, let me pretend I was a child because this was all too grown up and I was scared. I didn't mind her protective control streak in those moments. I needed it. A colonoscopy is weird. They make you take a laxative so there's nothing in your gut. Then they make you take something else that lights up your gut like a Christmas tree. Then the hard part. A friendly-looking old man with his rubber gloves asks you to stand in this machine whilst you're wearing a medical dress and your butt is on show. A kindly-looking middle-aged woman in rubber gloves stands at a computer. The machine moves so that you don't have to. The camera goes into your butt, and thankfully, you don't have to look the old man in the eye whilst he does this. His bedside manner was impeccable. He asked about the pain, how often, when. He asked me about university. What was I studying? What did I do for fun? Other stuff, whilst the machine moved, so I was lying, then upright, then turn left, then turn right. The sickly feeling of pain washed over me, out of nowhere, but right on cue. I thought I was going to faint. My sight went black and the machine went flat again. The old man let me take a sip of water, and the lady at the computer said she'd been taking photos as the pain had hit. She said she thought she knew what was wrong with me, and they'd need to do a blood test. The old man doctor took the camera out and wiped my bum, like an infant. Mum and I would laugh about this bit later, but in the moment I felt fragile, glass-like, fracturing. I was glad I'd never have to see either of them again. Blood tests proved the nurse's theory, and the second ultrasound had revealed something previously missed. I had a fibre deficiency, which was causing my gut to twist, and I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. I don't know what that means, I told the doctor. She was middle-aged and I was on my own. Mum had to work, and I had to learn to do this on my own. PCOS has a variety of symptoms, but essentially it means your eggs attach themselves to your ovaries and it becomes cysts. One of your ovaries has more cysts than the other and doesn't seem to be functioning at all. So I won't be able to have children. You're only 21. You don't want to be thinking about children. She was right, but at that moment, I'd never wanted children more. I wanted 3, like my Mel had. I wanted to carry them and teach them the usual crap, but with a stronger feminist ideology. The kind that made my mum roll her eyes and tell me, "You'll never find a boyfriend if you keep calling yourself a feminist." True, I said. 27. We're business partners now. Flatmates, sort of. Still mum and daughter. Still really bad at sharing a space and feelings without setting the other one off, but we're having a good day. We're driving around Kent, visiting independent bookstores and videoing it for YouTube. Mum's driving, so I can record with my GoPro. We talk about the business as we make our way to Margate. Talk about what we'd do if we owned our own bookshop. It's early and the sky is clear. It's cold and crisp, and the sea looks like a weird sage green from this distance. A little more blue up close, but not a lot. We eat in a cake shop and play with our phones. The Margate bookshop is going to be my favourite, I've already decided. It has brown bookshelves and colourful books, a good mixture of genre and literary, and little baskets of books outside. There are little chairs with little cushions that invite you to sit and read, but they're more for aesthetics than comfort. Books carry on up the stairs, across the tables, in beautiful stacks on the floor and in the windows. Mum networks with the owner, gets her life story. She loves talking to new people. She loves to hear their stories. We're both sad to leave and agree we'd definitely come back to Margate for this one bookshop and to try the cake in the shop next door. Our next stop is Herne Bay, and we pass the time talking some more. Mum interrupts me even though she knows I hate it and points at a little side road. Your nan used to live down there. I'm more interested in this than what I was saying, so I don't mind the change. Nanny Joy? No, Nanny Sue. Her mum. I don't call her by Nan anymore. She lives in France and hasn't spoken to me in years. Mum went to visit her a couple of summers ago, and Sue didn't even recognise her own daughter. My blood is boiling just from the mention of her. Really? She lived this close? I regret it the moment I say it. Mum's crying, and I hate Sue for this. It's where she moved to after she moved out. When my mum was 18, her mum walked out. She took everything, the lawnmower, the furniture. She booked a van and she left. She didn't tell anyone where she was, but she was here, in Margate, less than an hour away. She'd left her husband for his friend. I could rationalise that part, forgive it almost. People fall out of love, people change. But she'd abandoned her daughters. She'd abandoned my mum, and it made her who she is today. The emotional mess who watches shows about families reuniting. The control freak who doesn't want me to live more than an hour away. The caring, compassionate fucking mess who I would burn down the world for. If she asked me. What a fucking bitch, I say, and I mean it. I hate her. This makes my mum cry more, and I reach out for her hand. I'm so thankful every day that you're nothing like her. You'd never abandon us like that. I love you so much. I hate that it still hurts, that it still affects me. Of course it does, you're a human being. What she did was cruel. I can't tell if I'm making it worse with my honesty or better. Eventually her tears stop and my angry hatred abates. And I wonder how true Philip Larkin could be about 3 women he'd never met. They fuck you up, your mum and dad. They don't mean to, but they do.